Welcome to News About Geology. Today, we are going on a journey. Really, a journey that starts with a simple rock in the field and ends with a huge scientific insight. This one is for all you geologists and earth enthusiasts out there. You know, every geologist has this phrase in their back pocket: the rocks don't lie. It's this really simple, powerful idea that the Earth has literally written its own history in stone. And honestly, it's the perfect place for us to start. So, where does the story begin? It always begins out in the wild. Fieldwork, it's not just important, it's fundamental. It's the birthplace of pretty much every single geological question worth asking. So why is fieldwork such a big deal? Well, it's where we get our hands dirty, gathering that primary evidence. We're not just looking at a rock, we're seeing how it fits in, its context. This is what we call the literal ground truth. It is, without a doubt, the most fertile soil for new ideas and new questions about how our planet actually works. But, and this is a big but, here's where things get a little tricky. The legendary G.K. Gilbert warned us about this more than 100 years ago. He said that even our best, most compelling observations have to be open to being challenged. No matter how sure you feel standing on that outcrop, you've got to be ready for one new fact to come along and change the entire game. And that warning leads us right to this crucial question. What if our eyes, our experience, everything we think we know, is only showing us one tiny piece of a much bigger puzzle? That's the thought that pushes us to go deeper, to look beyond the surface and into the lab. And that brings us to the next critical phase of our journey. Now, laboratory analysis doesn't replace what we do in the field, not at all. It completes it. It lets us actually verify what we saw and unlock secrets that are completely hidden from the naked eye. So, what exactly are we talking about here? Well, laboratory analysis is just the process of taking those incredible samples from the field and putting them through a whole battery of controlled, systematic tests. This is how we get the hard, empirical evidence, how we start to turn those hypotheses we dreamed up in the field into scientifically validated conclusions. You can really see here how fieldwork and lab work are true partners. Think of it like this. In the field, we ask the big questions, right? The what is this and where is it? But it's in the lab that we find the really precise answers, the how did it form and why does it have these exact properties. Now, you might think getting data from the lab is a simple push-button process, but oh, it is so much more than that. It's really a scientific detective story all on its own, a super rigorous process we call quality assurance and quality control, or just QA/QC. And you know what? At the end of the day, the responsibility for all that data, it lands squarely on the shoulders of the scientist. It's up to the principal investigator to make sure that every single result isn't just a number, but that it's been vetted, checked, and is completely defendable. Let me show you a real-world example of why this is so critical. So in this study, researchers were comparing two different methods, and the first batch of data that came back from the lab was, well, it was a total mess, just a scattered, confusing plot. It looked like something was seriously wrong, like the science itself was failing. But then, check this out. This is the power of QA/QC in action. Instead of throwing out the data, the scientists dug in and found a ridiculously simple data entry error. Some sample IDs had just been swapped. After that one little correction, boom, the data just snapped into this beautiful, expected linear relationship. The whole dataset was saved. So the lesson here is that rigorous quality control is not just some boring technical step you have to get through. It's a fundamental part of the scientific process. It's what gives us the confidence to actually stand behind our conclusions and say, yes, this is what the data shows. So we have the people in the field, the boots on the ground, and we have the people in the lab, the analytical wizards. But the real magic, the true breakthrough science, that happens when these two groups work together effectively. I absolutely love this analogy. It just perfectly captures that synergy. They aren't two separate teams working in their own little worlds. They are indispensable to each other. They are literally two sides of the very same coin. So how do you actually build a partnership like that? Well, it boils down to a few really key principles. You have to start together, developing ideas from day one. You've got to be crystal clear about what you're trying to achieve. It means thinking beyond just writing another academic paper and creating something genuinely useful. And above all, you have to talk to each other clearly and constantly. Speaking of collaboration, one of the best ways to make it all happen is by sharing knowledge as widely as possible. And for some absolutely fantastic and accessible content, you should really explore the geology topics on PGO Ricardo Valls' YouTube channel. It's a great place to see these complex ideas brought to life. Okay, let's pull all these threads together now. We've gone from the field to the lab, we've talked about the nitty-gritty of quality control, and the human side of collaboration. So let's see how this whole picture changes how we think about that simple phrase we started this whole thing with.
And here we are, full circle. The rocks don't lie. That is absolutely still true. They are the ultimate source of truth. But, and this is the whole point, our interpretation of that truth is a very, very human process. It's full of potential mistakes, biases, and errors. The rocks, they can be profoundly misunderstood.
Man, this is such a powerful warning from T.C. Chamberlain, another giant from geology's past. He said that the moment you come up with an explanation, you start to fall in love with it. It's like your intellectual child, and you become blind to any evidence that contradicts it, until that favorite theory of yours becomes your master. And that leaves us with this final, crucial question that we all have to ask ourselves, whether we're looking at a cliff face or just going about our day. What's my ruling theory? What idea am I so in love with that it might be blinding me from seeing what's really there? And hey, if you want to keep exploring these kinds of ideas with resources that really champion curiosity and clear thinking, you should definitely visit PGO Ricardo Valls on YouTube. It's a great way to keep that scientific passion.
Welcome to my channel, where you'll find over 2,000 videos on geology, geochemistry, AI, and many other subjects. If you like what you see, help us grow by subscribing, liking, and sharing this channel.
I think these videos are brilliant, and I'm sure you will like them too. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell.